Welcome to Buzz Speakers. I'm Kush,
And I'm Alex.
and today we're reviewing Semper Femina by Laura Marling. So I was not aware of who Laura Marling was before. Well, I was aware of her. I didn't know her by name, and then when I went back and Alex told me, "Oh, this is the type of music she makes," and it kind of clicked. And I had heard of her music before. I guess the name evaded me for some reason. But this is my first full, complete project from Laura Marling, which probably shows I'm not too familiar with folk music, but I liked it. I thought it was really good. I think she has a great talent, and I think the closest I can compare it to so far is Julie Byrne, and I like this one a lot more than like Julie Byrne's album.
Same. I'd say Laura, she's written some of the best folk songs of this decade, and well, she's only really been around this decade. I know she released an album in 2008. I've listened to one album by her before, her 2010 one, I Speak Because I Can. But I liked it because it was like nice wintry atmospheres, and I hope to get something as good as that on here. And we did. This is a really enjoyable album. It kind of speaks to my own limitations of not knowing too much folk music either recently. Like the singer-songwriter genre in general, is really died out. I mean, it was the biggest, arguably one of the biggest genres ever in the 60s and early 70s, with people like James Taylor and Glenn Campbell and Neil Diamond and that. But if you think about it now, you either have to go to the extreme of like Sun Kil Moon and go complete crazy diary entries for 10 minutes. You either have to go to that extreme or the Mumford and Sons extreme of extremely commercialized folk music. So it's safe to say Laura Marling is a kind of happy medium that is extremely enjoyable. I don't know how much of that is true of her whole career, but I'm pretty sure she's got great albums all the way through, and I really love this album too.
Oh, yeah, she's. I think she's very well respected in the folk community for what she does.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with some of the negatives for me. Maybe this is just me, a personal preference. I'm pretty sure it's fantastic for someone who's really into folk music. I think that some of the instrumentation, like in some of the middle tracks, were kind of repetitive, I would say, and it kind of fell into the Julie Byrne trap where it became almost indistinguishable. But I think here, and despite having similar instrumentation, I think what does help is that her vocal style is changed in every song. She changes up the flow and the style and all of those little parts to it, to where you can remember each song is memorable. Now, that's probably my biggest critique of this. I do think at some points she is a bit high pitched for me, but I don't think that really hurt me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, I agree with that. She definitely completely went from two different vocal styles. Like some parts she sounded like a country musician, almost getting to Sheryl Crow levels, and sometimes she sounded overtly British. I don't think it was that much of a vocal stylistic to bother me. But Kush, you just said something there that is a new genre that Julie Byrne should do. Julie Byrne trap. Julie Byrne doing trap music.
Let's not start these things.
Oh well, I mean, if that's gonna make her music more interesting, then that'll do for me. Even though I really liked that album. Yeah. So I don't know what you were talking about. Like the instrumentals were getting looped a bit. Were you saying like
Not
like they were a bit samey?
They're samey in the sense that between two songs, I think I've recognized it between portions of Next Time and Wild Ones.
Right. Okay.
Those two songs had just, I think it was bare bones acoustic songs pretty much, and it's more plain than some of the other songs that she has.
Did you think that of Don't Pass Me By? Because that was my favourite. The guitar on this one is so good. I could listen to an instrumental album with guitars played like this.
Oh yeah, I wrote that was one of my favorites.
Makes like the best. It'd be the best incidental music for a film or TV soundtrack you could hope for. I don't know what it is, but the warbly guitar tunings reminds me of like old 50s rock tunings or something. I'm getting it for the whole song, and that is like one guitar tuning and playing style for the whole song. I admit that. Like, some people will find that really repetitive. But it's always something small like this that makes the song good for me. Just one small aspect. And it just makes me like it to incomprehensible belief. Like, I like the song anyway, but like there's some string arrangements that are really nice and on the whole album, and they add good levels of drama. But I just love this song almost just because of that guitar line. And I have to say, even though these songs are really long, they do not feel as long as they are. Like, this
Oh,
song's
definitely
5 minutes. This song's 5 minutes long. It feels like 3 to me, and that's good because it shows that we don't get, oh, this song's way too long. I can't wait to hear the end of this. You know,
Yeah.
we like these songs.
I think one of my favorite songs is the opening track, "Soothing."
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. There's something that I can't put my finger on. It's like the guitars are more quirky and weird and odd, but it
Yeah.
really fits her singing style. Cause it doesn't sound like a traditional like acoustics part of a song, but there's something like maybe it's a tweaking or maybe it's just the way she's playing it, but they're a little bit different, and it really just adds a whole different sound to it. But I think she has a gorgeous voice, like one of my favorite female vocalists right now, I think.
Whoa. Well, of everyone out there.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of female vocalists get kind of generic, and I think this one, and she just really stands out to me. And what from at least from the albums we reviewed, she's one of my favorites so far.
Yeah, I agree. She's really, really good, and I think that reflects in how she can sound distinctly British or like not distinct something else. Like, she can just sound like just a normal female vocal without any distinct accent attached to it, and then even like slightly American a wee bit in some of these. Now, Noel, that had that other Busted Speakers attribute, this guitar squeak.
Oh yeah, guitar squeak. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, in a song like this, I like it more. Like, I didn't like it too much in some other stuff, but even in the Julie Byrne album. But here, it's really good for some reason. I think it's just because it's Laura playing it, but yeah.
Uh,
Also, the last song.
she had
Whoa,
electric
nothing
guitars.
not guitar crunch. Love it though. I wouldn't mind seeing Laura going in this direction. It feels like untapped potential. This is more folk rock. I mean, the guitar solo at the end is smoking.
I
This
love
is
that
great.
part. It was so good.
It's an amazing song, and she's not even straying too far away from folk rock. Like, Bob Dylan had songs like this. It's not bending the boundaries of folk rock music at all, but just hearing her go through that extreme to something else more quiet and minimal and acoustic and lovely, to that is amazing to me. It's so much variety within one genre. It's stuff like that that makes me respect her so much on this album.
There's one more song that I really enjoyed, which was I think it was "The Valley." No, I
Yeah.
sorry, Wildfire was a song. And the thing with Wildfire is that her singing style reminds me a lot like of Leonard Cohen. So Leonard Cohen is one of my favorite old school musicians. And I think he does this thing where, well, most of his music is this way, where he is almost just talking over his instrumentals. Because he has such a deep, sexy voice that you just want to, it doesn't matter if he's singing, you just hear him talk and you just love his music. And she does that in Wildfire for a portion of it, and then switches it up to be where she is singing again. Then she goes back to the more spoken word talking style, and I think just the contrast of those two really add a new element to this whole album, because the whole album is a lot of singing, and I think just switching it up like that does add a lot, something that you don't really consider until it happens.
Yeah, I wrote this song was like sun-spoken style. Another old musician that I really like that does this is Joni Mitchell, specifically on the album Hejira. Yeah, this very reminded me a lot of that, and this is like one of the songs I thought was more country. When I say country, I just mean singer-songwriter with a bit of a Nashville vibe to it. Yeah, and I'm not sure if she does more this type of singing elsewhere in her career, because she didn't do it at all on her album I Speak Because I Can. But it's a nice thing on here. Wild Once. This is where I thought she must be at a vocal peak in her career with all these vocal inflections she does. And
I
she
hope
says
not.
something well, when I say peak, I mean she could maintain that peak for
Okay, yeah.
15 years, hopefully.
I don't want her
Yeah.
to come down from this peak.
No. She says on this song, something you can't explain, which describes her feelings of her past, which I like. But it's also fitting for me for my feelings. It's hard to explain what's so good about it, but it's performed and composed so well. I can't help but love it.
Yeah,
It's
I
also
think
a great, good looking back on wild childhood when she was wild once. And it's like less cringy, even though I like the song, way of basically saying the same thing as like Castle on the Hill by Ed Sheeran. It's like done in a more stylistically classy way. Like it's less cringy in a way. I love this. I just love all these songs basically. I mean, The Valley, great double-tracked vocals to the point where it sounds like two vocalists. All of these songs sound unlike each other. Like even Next Time, it's a bit more ordinary, but it's still quite nice and pleasant to listen to. The whole album, basically.
yeah, this whole album is just so well played and well just put together. And it flows really well, which I like because this is an album that you want to listen to from beginning to end. I think every song is
Yeah.
just in the perfect place. There's a song is Next Time, which has this acoustic solo, which
Yeah.
I rarely ever hear acoustic solos, and I think that was one of my favorite instrumental choices in this whole album. Uh, yeah, I think the squeaky guitars, they get to me.
Yeah, they don't get to me as much, but after this album, maybe I'm not so sure anymore.
It's a good album. What would you rate it, Alex?
Good. I mean, it's exactly the type of singer-songwriter folk I like. Just well constructed enough that you don't even need to be listening to the lyrics, even though that's like the main focal point. You can like choose to listen to those or the playing because they're that good in both aspects. They're nice diversions from her usual style, like she goes a bit more rock on some of these and nice different atmospheres. And the fact that the album feels a lot shorter than its runtime is a strong like testament to how enjoyable this is. It's great. I love it. I like Laura. I'm going to check out her other albums after this, pretty definitely. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. That's a very good score because
That is a
I
very
can't
good
really
score.
find any fault. I can't find any faults with it really. But it might just be missing that specific something where every song is amazing, like specifically memorable to give it a 10 out of 10. But I'm telling you, this is not too far off. It might be the closest to a 9.5 so far. So even though I'm not saying it's my specific favorite, it comes really close, Kush.
So, for me, I am not the biggest folk rock guy or folk music guy, or singer songwriter. But this album really did change my mind about the genre as a whole. I just fell in love with this album from beginning to end. I think there are some things that I didn't enjoy. Well, not that I didn't enjoy, but that did get to me a little bit more and kind of warp my view of the album, which is the sameness on some of the acoustic portions, which I had the same problem with Julie Byrne as well. Uh,
Yeah,
Definitely not to that extent, but still has some impact. And her vocals do get a bit high at some points, but when she's not stuck in that kind of rut, her vocals sound gorgeous. She has a great style, a great flow. Each song is unique and memorable. The lyrics are actually well thought out and well planned. There's a lot to this album to love, a lot of it, and so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
we love this album.
We love
do
this album.
indeed.
Yes. Well, if that's it, then thanks for tuning.
Probably.
Then
Still doing that.
thanks for tuning in to Busted Speakers. If you enjoyed this album, let us know in the comments. Well, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. If you let us know what you think about this album in the comments below, and check us out on social media. God, was that bad?
Ooh.